Good evening, team. We actually request all of you to wait for the next 5 minutes, as let us wait for a few more attendees to join, and then we start ahead with the session.
Hi, folks. We are excited to introduce you to our crazy, dynamic, fantabulous coach, Drishti Mamtani. She is an L4 engineer right now working in Google. Uh, Prior to this, she had a journey with Oracle and Amazon as part of data science as well as the software development team. Uh, Great to have you, Drishti, for this session. Over and out to you.
Thank you. Very good evening to everyone. So let me see. Yeah. Okay. So I'll also quickly introduce myself and what I do in Google, and I'm free to answering all the questions that you have. So keep on putting it in the chat, whatever doubts, whatever questions you have. So I'm Drishti. I work in Google Cloud in the technical infrastructure domain, and I've been working here for the 2.5 years. And I mostly work on Java. And the work mainly that I do is on resource optimization for Google. Um, Talking about my journey first. So I was a fresher when, like, basically when everyone just is fresh out of college and you're looking for jobs, and I was also in that same situation. So essentially, I started off from there. I was doing my internship, as already pointed out, in Oracle and Amazon. And I was also looking for full time roles. So my placements were about to start in December. I I come from BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus, and our placement season starts in December. So I was also looking for companies, and also obviously trying to get pre-placement offer in the internships that I was doing. So in December, I was doing my internship in Oracle, and that's where I wanted to get a full-time role also. Obviously, be it from the internship or be it from off-campus placements, and if not, then the on-campus placements as well. So what initially happened was, I started doing my DSA in that same year from around March. Because obviously everyone knows that data structures and algorithms is the most frequently asked topic, right? You will be asked a bit about your resume. You will be asked a bit about your technical computer fundamentals, but the major part is going to be your DSA. And because I knew that, I started off from March. So for about from March to December, so for these many months, I was just practicing DSA and obviously doing my internship as well. Similar to many of you who might be doing your internships, or you would be doing your full time roles. So whatever extra time is left, I started doing my DSA in that. I started off from the very, very basics. I knew the programming languages well before. I decided of a language at that time, C++, and then started off from the very first topic, which is arrays. So I spent around 1 week doing each topic: arrays, strings, binary search, and so on. I was doing questions. I also had a few mock interviews. I tried to have mock interviews at each duration so that I know where I'm lagging and how things are going for me. So I kept doing that till December. I approximately solved 500 problems on lead code, and I completed interview bit as well. So if I talk about the two platforms, LeadCode and InterviewBit, LeadCode is kind of a place where you have ample of questions, like you'll have around 2,000 questions, right? Whereas in InterviewBit, the number of questions are limited, but then you have a timer as well. So that's the main difference between the two. So I did my DSA in both of them, and I was doing my mock interviews. I was trying to test myself as well, and this was how I was going through. But yes, what I did was I tried to do at least three problems every day, no matter how hectic the work was or how unwell I was, or be it any situation. I just tried doing three questions every day, because what I feel is that consistency is the key in data structures and algorithms. If you actually keep on doing questions, the advantage would be that you will always be in sync, and you will keep on getting ideas, new ideas on how to approach a problem. So I kept on doing, be it whatever topic I did. Like I started off with arrays, then strings, then binary search, then recursion, linked list. I kept on doing topic by topic. Um, Obviously, after a point, probably in 3 months, I was able to complete all the topics. But then one more skill was left, to identify what to be done in a particular question. Because if you're doing topic by topic, you know that, hey, this question is going to be of this particular topic only, right? But after 3 months, I just kept on practicing. And I just kept taking random questions, trying to identify what should be done, how it should be done, and so on. I realized at that time that, hey, I'm very weak in dynamic programming. Because I did do it for 1 week, like I was doing every topic. But then when a new dynamic programming question just came to me, I had no clue on how to solve it. I tried my level best to identify what needs to be done, but I was not able to. So at that time, I realized that, hey, dynamic programming is one weak topic. Another weak topic that I identified was graphs. But then once I identified this, I spent lot and lot of time doing DP questions. And I obviously knew that DP is not a topic which any interviewer is going to leave. Most of the questions that I would be asked would be on graphs or DP, right? So I did lots and lots of DP questions. And after 1 month, I felt that, hey, I can do questions. And I remember one day I was able to do one hard question on lead code on my own. I had never seen that question before. I did not know anything about that question, but I was able to do it on my own. And that's when I realized that, hey, I have got decent knowledge of DP, and now I'll be able to solve questions. So that was a point where I got confidence on DP, and then I started my interview journeys. I did interview for a lot of companies. Google was one of them. But the Google's process is really long, especially when it's off campus. If you are just in your final year and Google is going to come, then they are going to roll out their offers in one day itself. But for off campus placements, they like the process is big. The number of interviews are six, and also it takes time to have interviews, and plus I also wanted time to prepare. So it was essentially that the Google's process was going on, and there were other companies also I was interviewing for. The others that I remember are JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and so on. So I kept on interviewing for them, and some were going well, some which were not going well. I was able to identify what was my mistake, and I was trying to learn from them. And slowly, things started shaping up well. I got a bit of confidence also. When you actually are able to crack interviews, you get that confidence. So I was slowly getting that confidence, and I had that hunger to give more interviews, to get shortlisted, and so on. So I think this entire process around took 6 months. And my process in Google started around October. I was almost ready by December. So the initial interviews were the telephonic round and others, and after that, I had the main on-site rounds in January, and I finally got the offer in March. And that's when I decided I'll join Google. Till then, I had already gotten pre-placement offer from Oracle, but then I had already made the choice. And even after that, I kept on interviewing because I thought that, hey, it's been I have prepared for this for probably more than 6 months. Then I should actually use the preparation that I have for the interview. So I kept on interviewing. I got a few company offers as well, but then I chose to join Google because that's what I felt was probably what I wanted. It was my dream, and I felt that it would be a right position or a right company to start my journey. And that's how I entered Google. So if I talk about my journey in Google, I initially started off with a team which was on resource optimization, and things were very good because I was learning a lot. I had a mentor in US, and he was helping me and guiding me throughout the process. The team that I work on is basically a resource management team, an internal team in Google, and it's a very complex product. So it's basically way in depth, like too inside the Google infrastructure. And it was complex, but I was trying to understand it and slowly work with whatever skills I had, whatever I was learning, and whatever people were assigning me the task with. And in this way, I took 6 months to actually understand the entire product. And then it started off to optimize a few things and to design a piece, a feature in the product. And that's what I felt, that I learned a lot there, because now I was working independently. And I remember it said that having like you get promoted after around 2 years, right? But my manager thought that I was ready in 1.5 year, and he told me, he pushed me to apply and to work on the gaps that are there. And we applied in 1.5 months and 1.5 years, and I was able to get through. And since then, I have been working on multiple projects. Now I work on multiple projects, shift my domain from one place to another. And I feel that I'm learning a lot. I feel that each day I have something new to do, something challenging and interesting. So it feels good, and it gives me a bit of satisfaction at the end of the day. And I feel that's what I want in life. Yeah, so that's pretty much my journey. I think I talked a lot, but I just wanted to give you a brief about myself. But yes, any questions that you have, we can discuss those, and then we'll move to the second segment of the session. Is it we do coding like that when we were in company, not tools? Okay, so I assume that your question is coming from like, do you do lead code questions in company, or the way we practice data structures and algorithms? Do you do that or not? It's essentially not like that. You don't have to actually take up a problem and solve it and submit it. It's not how work happens in companies. So what happens is you work on a project and you have a problem statement, and based on that you have to find out how you can approach that problem and how you can solve it. Obviously the tools that you will have would be different. For example, someone might work on a MERN stack. Someone would probably work on Java. Someone else might work on Go. So the infrastructure and the tech stack that you use might be different, but basically you will be given a problem and then you have to solve it. And that's why the companies are actually testing your problem solving skills, because they don't care from which language you do, or like you code in probably Python or JavaScript or C++ or Java. They don't care about that. What they care about is, if you're given a problem, will you be able to solve it or not? Do you have that skill set to actually approach a problem in certain way and get a optimized solution out of it? So that's what the companies are testing, and the best way to do that is by asking data structures and algorithms. But yes, you don't do DSA in the companies. You actually work on a real world problem, or you will be utilizing data structures and different algorithms that you know. For example, you might apply graphs, you might use maps, sets, stacks, queues. You might be using all those things, but it's not that you will be given just a lead code kind of a question and you have to solve it. It's not like that. How many questions per topic should we do? Easy, medium, hard. I would say if you are applying for product-based companies, then first easy questions should be done so that you get a bit of confidence on the topic, and then you should focus majority on the medium questions. You should reach a level where you're able to do medium questions on your own. Like you don't need help. And doing a question does not mean that, hey, you're taking help from the tutorials, or you're seeing a YouTube video, understanding the approach and then solving it. No, it's not like that. It's basically that you see a problem, you get ideas on your own, and you are able to solve a particular problem with your different approaches that are coming to your mind. You don't have to see the solution and then code it. You have to find out this approach on your own. And if you're not able to find the approach, then figure out where you were lacking, what was missing. So majority of the questions that you should do should be from medium level. Then once you feel that you're confident on medium level questions on a particular topic, then you move to hard questions. It's not that you shouldn't do hard questions, but the majority of questions that you should do are medium questions, followed by hard, and followed by easy questions, where easy questions is just going to be the initial starting point for a particular topic. So how many questions per topic? If I say, like, it again, it depends on the topic. For example, if you're doing arrays, around if you do 3 questions a day, right? So 3 into 7, that is 21. And obviously on Saturday and Sundays, you'll spend a bit more time. So I would say around 25 questions every week is going to be good. Not all went on company with DSA. What rules we get on DSA skilled person? So see, if you're a fresher, data structures and algorithms is the most important topic. If you are an experienced person, like you have some professional experience of N years, then not only data structures and algorithms will be asked, but system design will also be asked. And both the things are covered by HeyCoach also. Um, Okay. Now, how did your resume pass the ATS at Google? Can you share some resume tips? Yeah, I'll try to quickly do that. So basically, in your resume, you have to mention everything precisely, uh, to the point. So for example, if you worked on a project or if you have an internship, you don't have to write a complete story or a paragraph there. You just have to write 2 or 3 bullet points, and each point should be complete in itself. So there's a Google XYZ approach. You basically, when you're writing something, you have to tell what you did, how you did, and the impact you created. So for example, designed and developed an automation framework using so and so, which which reduced technical debt and improved the engineering excellence by so and so percentage. So basically, what, how, and impact. These are the 3 things that should be mentioned in each point. Obviously, if there are some personal projects, then they won't have a lot of impact. If they have impact, well and good. If they don't have impact, then what and how should be mentioned in those where you don't know the impact. The impact can be quantitative, like it would be good if it is quantitative, like if it's in some numbers, but if not, then also add qualitative um, numbers, not numbers, qualitative impact. For example, you reduce the technical debt or improved engineering excellence, something like this. Also, try to have as many keywords as possible in your resume. So mentored, led, developed, designed, REST APIs, these all are words that should be there in a resume. Don't lie in your resume, but try to add as much keywords as possible. So, some more keywords could be communication skills, then passionate, innovative. If you talk on the technical front, troubleshooting, debugging, system architecture, distributed systems. So try to put as much as possible in your resume. Don't lie, but try to do it in such a way that uh, your resume matches a lot with the job description. Also choose a format which does not have a lot of graphics and is application tracking system compliant. So you will find lots and lots of formats which are ATS compliant. Don't just start off with any format, and also prefer to have less graphics. Is lead code enough to crack coding interviews, or CP is also required? Basically, if you just do lead code and build your problem solving skills, it's sufficient. Even when you're doing competitive programming, the main aim should be to build your problem solving skills. Okay. Um, Recently resigned from my job, got from college placements. How much time is needed to prepare for interviews? And should I prepare while parallelly doing an internship? See, it depends on what works for you. For each person, it would be different. If you're not working, then max to max, you should take 3 months, because you have ample of time. Like you can do data structures and algorithms, you can do system design, and each day you don't have to do 3 questions also. You can do around 10 questions every day. But if you're working and you have an internship or you have a full-time role, then those things actually can be adjusted with DSA also. Like probably spend 2 hours every day to do DSA. If not 2 hours, spend 1 hour, but at least do 3 questions. Okay, so uh, I think I already tried to cover a few questions, but then let's actually start off discussing one DP question and see how we can approach it, right? Let me see if I can share my screen. Yes, I can. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, can you just let me know if you're able to see my screen? Okay, fine. I'll also give you the link of this question. So maybe you can read the question for a minute, and we can actually see how we can approach this problem. Like, what would be the idea behind this, and how actually we'll reach the optimized solution, right? So Try to read the question in a minute and start thinking about the question, and then we'll discuss it together. Let me know once you've read the question. Let me know if we can start. Okay, great. So we are given an integer array nums. Yes, if you want, you can send the question to everyone as well. Yeah. So the question says you're given an integer array nums. Return true if you can partition the array into two subsets such that sum of the elements in both the subsets is equal, or false otherwise. So basically we are given, let's say, the first example, 1, 5, 11, 5, right? Now we have to partition this into two subsets such that each subset has the same sum. So if you put, say, 1, 5, and 5 in one subset and 11 in another subset. So if you see, the total sum that you have of S1 is 11, and for S2 also it's 11. So you are able to partition the array into two subsets and both have the same sum. So you just have to figure out, can you do this or not? So any ideas that come to your mind on how we can try to do it, or anything that comes to your mind on what should be the approach behind this, or anything that comes to your mind? One simple thing that you can see here is, if I have something in S1 and something in S2, both of them have to be equal. For example, the total sum here is X, and here also the total sum is X. So the total sum of the entire array will be S1 plus S2, which is basically 2X. Right? Can I say that? That means the entire sum of the array should be an even number. Then only you'll be able to divide it into two pieces, right? If the total sum is 23, how will you divide it into two equal pieces? You can't divide it into 11.5 and 11.5. You can only divide a array into two pieces if the total sum of the array is even. That's one thing that you can probably just see the question and try to figure out. Does that make sense? Is that okay? Can you just give me a yes or no in the chat? Come on, quickly. Yeah. Now, Monisha told that we can actually create the subsets. Yes, we can try creating the subsets also. So what we can actually do is, right now we know that the total sum will be even. So the first thing that you will check, if the total sum of the array is odd I can directly return false, that hey, I can't divide the entire array into two subsets which have equal sum. I can't do that because I can't divide a odd number into two equal pieces. The second thing is, now if the total sum of the array is is even, then what we will do? Now here we don't know. It may happen that it's possible to divide it into two subsets which have equal sum. It may be that it's not possible to divide them. So we'll have to identify some way in which we can figure out what is the answer true or is the answer false. Okay, now one idea that came to Monisha's mind was you create the subsets. You can try doing that, but the only problem would be that the time complexity there would be exponential. Another idea that's coming to Jairam's mind is sort the array and start two pointers from start and end and keep calculating S1 and S2 and increase pointers based on S1 and S2. No, this approach will not work. The reason is we want to have two equal pieces. We want to have two equal pieces. If you see, probably here you are able to divide it into two equal pieces when you have two pointers. But in all the cases, you won't be able to divide. It won't be possible. I can probably give you an example also, but then it won't be possible because in this example that you see, you just take 11, right? You just take 11. For example, let's say it was, say, 2 also, right? And like this maybe. Now, if you sort it, it would become 1, 2, 2, 5, 5, 11. Now, if you start from the end and combine 5 and 11, you won't be able to actually make two sets which have the equal sum. Okay, and one more thing that we'll check is what is the total sum here? It's going to be, this is 5, this is 10, 5, 10, and 11. That is 26. So you basically want 13, 13, right? In one set 13, in another set 13. So if you start taking these elements, all of these elements in one set, you'll not get 13. If you start taking these elements, you'll not get 13. So basically, you'll have to take 11 plus 2, and you'll have to take 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5. So sorting and having two pointers is not going to work here. Again, there might be a lot of ideas that come to your mind, and it's okay to actually think about those ideas, because what the interviewer wants is that you think about the question, you try to come up with the approach. But then when you actually see a question, think about approaches and figure out whether they are going to work or not. For example, Jairam gave me an approach, and uh, I thought about it and tried to come up with a test case where it's not working, because once you get an approach, you also have to identify whether it's going to work always or not. You will have to think about, is there something that I'm missing, right? Okay, now if you see, what I can say is that, hey, let's probably take the example 1, 5, 5, 11 only, and it's not sorted. I've not sorted it. Now, what is the total sum? The total sum is 22. What I can say is that, hey, I want a subset which has sum equal to 11. If I get a subset which will have sum equal to 11, the other subset will also have the sum as 11, right? So instead of having this big problem of dividing it into two subsets which are equal, which have this sum as equal, what I can do is I can just say that, hey, I want a subset where the sum is 11 or sum is half. If I'm able to do that, that means whatever thing is remaining will have the sum as 11, because the total sum is 22. Does that make sense? I have not done anything till now which is not correct, or which is not something that I have just came up. I just came up with it on my own. I have just seen the problem and I have tried to just slowly think about it. I have not applied any logic, any algorithm so far. I'm just trying to observe the question and derive some things out of it, which is going to help me. Okay. Now, basically, now the problem is what? Find a subset which has sum as 11, right? So basically, I have to take this array and find a subset which has the sum as 11. Okay. Now, how can I do this? It essentially means that I have to go to each point, each element and check, can I include it in the set or not? And I have two options. Can you tell me what are those two options? What are the two options? For each element, I have two options. Either I take it in the set, whose sum will be 11, or I don't take it in the set. Okay. So each element has two options: include it or exclude it, right? So basically, one will also have the options, if I include it or not. 5 also has two options, whether I include it or not. 11 also has two options, whether I include it or not. And the other 5 also has two options, right? Now, have you heard about 01 knapsack? Have you heard about 01 knapsack? You can say no also. That's completely okay. Doesn't this question resemble something similar? In 01 knapsack, what happens is you have lot of items, you are given their weights and values, and you have to put them in a bag. Now, you have, for each item, you have two options, whether you put it in the bag or you don't put it in the bag. If you put it in the bag, you will get some value out of it, but you will also be reducing the total weight that can be put in the knapsack. Because if knapsack can have only 10 units and you put 8 units, then you are only left with 2 units of weight that can be put in the knapsack. So there also, each item has two options, whether you put it in the knapsack or you don't put it in the knapsack, whichever gives you maximum value. Similarly here, we have to, we need the total sum as 11. Now there are two options, whether you include a particular element or you don't include a particular element. Okay, does that make sense? Even if you've not heard of knapsack, it's okay. I'm going to explain it without knapsack also. So what I can do is, I'll probably have, say, can partition. I'm just using the same function name. I'm given the nums array and I'm starting from the last index. I'm starting from the last index, or I can also say what is the last element. Last element is having index 3, or I can also say that, hey, this is the fourth element. So I'm just going to look from backward. I can look from starting also. That's also completely okay. I'm checking the fourth element and I'm saying that, hey, I need the sum as 11. Okay. Now I have two options with me. Since I'm at the fourth element, the first option is include fourth element. The second option is exclude fourth element. Okay. Now, if I include the fourth element, that is, I include the fourth element in the set, then what would it mean? Since I have included the fourth element, now I reach the third element. The fourth element is already done. I have already exploded. So now I reach the third element. And now since I have included this fourth element in my sum or in my subset, 5 is gone from my total sum. I can have sum as 11 if I'm including 5 in my set. I can also say that so far the set does not have anything. But if I include this last five in my set, then how much sum I further need to make? I need to make 6 because 5 I have already included. So my set would become like it will have 5. This is one option that I have, right? What would be the another option? Don't include it. If you don't include it, you still go to the third element because you've already explored the fourth element. Your sum will not change because you are not including that fourth element. So your sum will still remain 11. That is, you have to get total sum 11 from the first three elements, and your set is empty. So there are two possibilities. Either you include a particular element or you don't include a particular element. Does that make sense? Are we clear till here? If you don't know DP, even if you have no idea what dynamic programming is, what I'm saying is just something logical that, hey, for each element, I have two options, include it or don't include it. Correct? So I'll just repeat it once. Say, you have nums array and you are at the last element. Now for this 5, there will be two possibilities. You include this element or you don't include this element. If you include this element, you want to make sum as 11, but you've already added 5. So the remaining sum that is left is 6. So out of the remaining 3 elements, you have to make the sum as 6. And if you don't include the last element, then your sum will remain 1, that is 11. That is, out of all the other elements, you have to make sum as 11. So if you see, we are calling, we have can partition, and in both the possibilities, we are calling the same function again with just different parameters. So where this is basically a place where we are actually using recursion, and the optimization over recursion is dynamic programming. You can do this using recursion, but what happens is recursion has overlapping subproblems which are solved again and again. And because recursion has those overlapping subproblems, it's not the most optimized one. What is the most optimized solution? It is basically dynamic programming. So wherever in a question you get, hey, recursion can be used, try to use dynamic programming, because dynamic programming would be an optimization. And what does exactly dynamic programming mean? Whenever you get a answer for this, you store it at a particular place. When you get an answer for this, you store it at a particular place. And what essentially happens with that, whenever the same thing is needed again, you can take the answer from the place where you have stored. You don't have to compute it again. So it's going to help you minimize the things that you do again and again. So if you have solved a problem, you're not going to solve it again. You're going to take the answer of the solved problem and store it at a particular place. And whenever the same subproblem is needed, you're going to actually see what was the answer that you stored and use it. You don't have to call it again. That is what dynamic programming is. Okay, does that make sense? And one more last thing that I want to say is, now here you have to make a DP table, right? Now it could be either a 1D DP or a 2D DP. Can you tell me, will it be a 1D DP, that is, you will create an array, or it will be a 2D DP where you will create a matrix? Not difficult. The only thing is you can check, hey, what is changing? There are two variables that are changing. You are at which element? You are at fourth element, third element, second element, first element, and so on. That is basically your n is changing. And another thing that is changing is sum. So sum is sometimes 6, sometimes 11. So there are two variables. That means you have to use two-dimensional DP. When there is one variable, you have to use one-dimensional DP. So I've just tried to give you a gist of dynamic programming in short with help of an example. And this is how we actually try to see a question and try to do it in step by step in bits and pieces, and then come up with a solution. You don't have to just see a question and say, hey, dynamic programming will be used. You have to see a question and figure out what are the interesting things here, what I can derive out of it, and why I'm going to solve it in a particular way, why I cannot solve it in a particular way, and why I can solve it in this way. So you have to think about all those things for each question. Okay. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover about DP. I'm not like I did not teach DP, but I wanted to give you an intuition of dynamic programming. Are we good till here, everyone? Are we good? Okay, great. So now I'll tell you what we do at HeyCoach. So let me go to one of the batches. So what actually HeyCoach provides is a mind map. Now, what does this mind map mean? It basically covers, let's probably go to one of the topics, say graphs, right? Graphs is something which is a tricky topic like dynamic programming. So there are two topics which are most frequently asked: graphs and dynamic programming. And you can't start with these topics from the first day, right? It takes those basic data structures and understanding of different algorithms to reach graphs and DP. You can't start them in the first day itself. So, so what essentially happens here is you obviously have visualizations on all the topics. For example, if you're taking graphs, you basically will be told the entire theory and the entire algorithmic part with the visualization. So you have a lot of graphics here, GIFs here to explain you the entire theory. So if you see, as if we start off with graphs, it's directed graph, undirected graph, and so on. Then we have shortest path algorithm, bridge in a graph. So all these things are actually explained precisely, right? And then you basically have a mind map where you just, if you take a topic, you will be given lots of problems to solve. For example, if you're just very new to graphs, right? So you will first solve the questions on simple graphs. So you basically will be given a lot of questions. For example, find center of a star graph, find if path exists in a graph. Those questions which are very, very basic, and then you first do them, you mark them as completed. Then you move to the next topic of graphs, which is depth first traversal, and then depth first traversal and depth first search, and then you move to breadth first search and breadth first traversal. So you do topic by topic and then try to see whatever problems are there on a particular topic. For example, let me just say this is the question, right? This is the question. So if I, let me go back, let me go here. Here, the entire theory is there, and here you will have, in the mind map, you will have the questions, right? Now, if you search by a problem, so I'll just put the link of the problem of lead code. And here, if I don't know what is the topic, or just don't know what should be done here in the question, I will be getting hints also that, hey, you have to use DFS and you have to use BFS. So you will be given hints also. It's not that you just are given the question, and if you don't know what to do, you will just not be able to do it or move ahead, and you will have to look at the solution. No, what happens is you do topic by topic. You are given questions on each topic, and you consolidate a topic. And if, let's say, you're not able to do a question, you even get hints. So this is how the mind map actually looks like. And it's not that we are going to just do questions. It's that we are going to understand everything intuitively with the visualizations, understand the applications, and then do problems on a particular topic. We're going to do topic by topic, and once we have consolidated all the topics, then we are going to look at the problems and see what should be used here, what should not be used here, right? Let me show you linked list again. First, questions related to sorting, then rotating, then reversing, then splitting, then removing, reordering. So there are lots of questions on linked list, right? And you try to identify the different patterns which are there in different linked list question. If you see a question, you might realize, oh, I did something similar, but then you don't remember that question. So here, all the different questions are basically structured in a way that all the similar questions are together. So if you're doing a question, you also get a sense of other questions and you're able to do them quickly. So all the different questions here are put in sections, and then you can do those questions and consolidate a topic. So what I was saying that, hey, for one topic you should do around 25 questions. So you will get all those 25 questions of different variations together in this mind map, and this is there for all the topics. So this is how we approach in HeyCoach. We take topic by topic and we try to see what are the different patterns, why a particular data structure, a particular algorithm is needed in this particular question, and why not something else. We have that discussion, and we then start approaching the different problems in buckets. That's what essentially we do here. Yeah, so that's pretty much that I wanted to cover. I think I might have some time. Can I take a few questions? Okay. Maybe whatever questions, because I'm scrolling through the chat, but all those things are related to the question that we were doing, right? So whatever last minute questions you have in your mind, just you can put them, and I'll just take a couple of minutes to answer them. Last minute questions? Okay, if not, then I can hand it over back to the team.
Am I audible, guys? Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, you're audible.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Drishti, for sharing your personal experience as well as having such an informative session. Right? How did you guys like the session? How was it? Did you guys get all your queries cleared? All right, fine. So Drishti here is given a partial idea of what exactly we do at HeyCoach, right? So we have basically curated a program as to for developers who are looking for growth, who are looking for opportunities in organizations like Google or Microsoft or Apple, right? So something of not more like a generalized program, but rather a personalized program that would help people develop their own skills, brush up on their own skills, as well as grow. So I think you've been getting pop-ups as well, people who are interested, aspiring to get into Google or or other tier one product based companies as well, right? So you have a link there to sign up for the program as well. And besides that, I think there are still questions coming up, right? All right. So we will be taking up free career consultations, giving you a roadmap as to what we'll help you with, right? Besides that, how exactly HeyCoach will also help you develop your skill set and get those opportunities, right? So can you see the link in the text box? All right. So all of you can put in your details there, right? Whoever's interested in getting the free session with the career experts, right? And we would be also, having batches coming up with these training sessions and how we'll help you grow as well. So you can fill it in right away, right? And you can expect, our career experts to get in touch with you in probably 24 to 48 hours maximum. Yeah. Yeah. So we would be having a selection criteria as well. So there would be limited seats that would be there. So you can say approximately 30, right? So it would be first come, first serve basis. So, the faster it is, the better it is for you, right? But get a clear picture as to what we do and how we go about things. and then probably you can decide how you want to go for it. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Anything that you have that you want to ask? Any of you? Please type it in. Does academics or field matters? So ideally, I would say, field matters, because if you're not comfortable with programming, picking up with DSA and system design would be a little difficult, right? But if you are comfortable coder, be it from a different background in BTech or so, right, that's perfectly fine. Shubhendra, can you just type down your question again? I'm just able to see, yes, please answer my question. Can you just type it down again for me so that I can answer better? All right. I've completed BCA fresher and want some ideas to achieve my dream job in the current situation. So Shubhendra, ideally I could go on about that, probably to help you understand this better, right? But I would say that, this is a different kind of a session. So I would say just put down your details, and probably our team will get in touch with you to have a conversation on more of a personal and one-on-one basis. That would be much more helpful. Any other questions, folks? All right. It was a lovely session, and it was great to have all of you interact with us as well. Right. Hoping forward for more such conversations. And if you want to get into, or rather know more about Super 30 and how we help people, like I mentioned, there is going to be limited seats, right? So you can fill in your details, and you can expect a response as soon as possible. Yeah. All right. Take care, guys. Oh, sorry. Just one last question here. All right. So, like I mentioned, guys, not stretching it further, you can just probably, get in touch with our team, or rather, they will get in touch with you once you've filled in your details with, your qualifications and everything, right? So they will help you out with all the details. Yeah. All right. Take care. Have a nice evening, guys. All right.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.